I was born in a lower middle class family. The money which I was getting for the pocket money for the canteen was only 15 rupees a month. Today, the success of Dubai, it's because of the people like us who are doing the business over here. It's not only me. There are many stories who have come without anything in Dubai and made it successful. When I was 18 years old, when I went to my uncle's place in Kuwait, I started making money. When everything fell down, when I went to Mumbai, I did a small business, I started making money. When I came to Dubai, I started working for this company, I started again making money, which means there is something, quality of salesmanship is there in me. Anybody and anybody can start business in Dubai, and trust me, it is very good to start business in Dubai.
For us, Shah Rukh is an icon, a global celebrity, and you're naming him in a tower. How would this happen?
In the morning, 6 o'clock, I got a dream. I said, why not I name this tower as Shah Rukh Tower? Idea was brilliant. But I said, how do I convince Shah Rukh now that I want this tower in his name? So I again sent a message to him. Look, I have this tower and I want to make this as Shah Rukh Tower. How do you think?
With huge round of applause, let me invite the founder and chairman of Danube Group, Mr. Rizwan Sarjan, to the stage. Let's stand together and give a huge round of applause. And we are having our coach, Mr. Shamim, on the stage for a fireside chat with our very own Rizwan Sarjan, sir.
We have a wonderful audience here, and we have got 200 entrepreneurs who have come all the way from Kerala to listen to you. And we've got a fabulous 300 successful entrepreneurs from GCC. And we all look forward to you as a role model, as a successful entrepreneur, a celebrity entrepreneur for all of us. Let's have a small conversation with you. To begin with, you're born in a slum in Mumbai. That's what we understand. And today you are building skyscrapers in Dubai. Tell us your early days, how it started, the journey, sir.
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me for this lovely session. And I'm so happy to see all of you here in such large numbers. So thank you so much. I just want to take 1 minute of your time. And if we can, just so much saddened about yesterday's CJ Roy's incident which has happened, which was a tragic incident, which it's still unbelievable, and we cannot digest. CJ was very close to me and the family. One of the reasons he was close to me because we are a part of Icons Group, and Icons is a group of HNIs. So I was telling Faisal that at least once a month I used to meet CJ and his wife Lini in some or the other gathering. And what I know from CJ is a very strong person, very dynamic person, not fearless person. I mean, he used to not bother, he used to not care, he used to not worry about anything which is, I cannot even accept the fact that something like this CJ himself can do it. So, very shocked, very saddened, whatever the incident it is. My condolence to his family, and I hope and pray that everything goes well with them, and I'm sure you also will be praying the same way. So just for half a second, if we can all get up and just pray for him, please. Thank you. I know it's a very sad moment. Still, we are, and me and Faisal, while we were entering, we were talking about the same thing. I believe there are a lot of people who have come from India, and there are some people who are here. Many of you who must have heard about my story, but I will start as to give you a little bit of background as to what I was doing and how I have come up and how I have struggled in my earlier days. I was born in a lower middle class family. When I say lower middle class family, my father had all the money to put me into the school but did not have the money for sending us even by school bus. We had to walk almost 4-5 kilometers every day to go to the school and come back. The money which I was getting for the pocket money for the canteen was only 15 rupees a month, and that 15 rupees used to get over in 5-6 days because the school which he put me was a convent school. And always I used to feel ashamed that, I go to the canteen on the 10th day or 7th day to ask my friends that give me some money, I want to buy a chai or I want to buy a samosa. Now that was little disheartening, and then I told my dad, look, can I have at least 50 rupees? Dad says, I don't have money, but whatever I have, I'm spending on you. So at that particular age, I remember it was 14 years of my age, I said, I cannot be in this embarrassing position every day. I have to do something of my own. So I told my dad, give me 500 rupees, I want to do some business. He says, what business you want to do? He says, I will go to the wholesale market, pick up some books and give it to my colleagues over here. And that's how I started my journey. I went to the wholesale market, picked up the books and gave it to my friends only, to the parents I went. And I started making about 100, 150 rupees. I really enjoyed that because, okay, a little bit of hard work was there, but in my pocket 100 and 150 rupees at the age of 14. Instead of borrowing money, I was lending money to my friends. You want chai, samosa, now I can lend you. Books season was over. Now I said, now I still need that money. So when Diwali came, I sold some firecrackers. I sold some Raksha Bandhan. In India, we celebrate, Mumbai side, we celebrate Rakhi. We sold Rakhi. Many times I sold whatever was required to make that 100, 150 rupees. I used to make sure that something or the other I sell every month and make that money. I remember an incident where there was nothing to sell. So what do? Somebody told me there's a job of a milkman, which means in the morning you have to get up at 4 o'clock, deliver the milk to the people, and at 6:30, come back, give the accounts to your manager, and go to your house, get ready, and go to your school. I took that job very happily because it was paying me 150 rupees. The only thing is I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning and give the milk. There's a very, very nice incident which I will never forget and I want to share with you. 4:30 in the morning while I was delivering, I went to one building to deliver the milk. Now, there was a fat lady who used to always come and take the milk from me. At that particular day when I went to deliver the milk, the fat lady did not come. There was a beautiful girl who came outside the apartment to take the milk. And apparently that girl was my girlfriend whom I was seeing at that particular. Girlfriend means at the age of 14, you have some liking for one girl, and that girl came to take the milk. And she was really very astonished that I am selling the milk. And he says, you milk? So I said, yeah, I do this for part-time. She banged the door on my face and she took the milk and she went away. I was very disheartened because first of all, the whole college will come to know that I'm selling milk. Bhaiya. Milk in Mumbai we call bhaiya. Secondly, I will lose a girlfriend. So I was riding the cycle and going, thinking about what the incident happened. And I bumped into one stone and my cycle fell down. My cycle fell down, so the milk also fell down. I said, now what do? In the night, I have to deliver this milk somehow. So I started looking out for some water to put, because not all the milk was fell down, little bit of milk was fell down. So I started looking out for some water in the night, and I found one drum. So I pulled the water from there and put in my milk container and delivered all the milk to whatever people were balanced to be delivered. When I went back to give my accounts, there were 5 families, five ladies waiting to complain about the milk which I delivered, which was full of water. So the Manager called me and he says, "You're cheating with me and you're putting water and delivering milk to my customer." So I explained to him what happened, that incident, that I'd never do that, but because I was very scared, I don't know what to do, I did that at the moment just to cover up for it. Manager was very angry. He told me to turn around, gave me a big kick on my ass, and he says, "Get out, don't come from tomorrow." And so on that particular day, I remember 27th it was of October, I lost my job, I lost my girlfriend, and I lost the 150 rupees which I was going to make working the whole month. You know, so certain incidents in life you can never forget. What I am trying to tell you, this is how my journey, which I started in Mumbai. So again, life started, everything was moving all right. I had to make 150 rupees only for myself to make sure that I have a lot of money. But at the age of 16, my father expired. He expired at the age of 16. So earlier I had to worry only about the 150 rupees. But then lately, I started to have to think about the whole house. Luckily for the company which my dad was working, they gave me a job. In India, we have this called Provident Fund. So my dad was working in that company for 20 years. So I got that Provident Fund, we pushed in the bank. A little bit of business I started doing. Somehow I was managing that job. Meantime, wrote to my uncle in Kuwait. He gave me a job at the age of 18. I went to Kuwait, and that's how my life changed. Because he's the one who actually taught me how to make 2 + 2 = 5. I started working with him in the sales. And I want to fast track this because, you know, there's a limited time given to me that this is what we need to talk. So at that particular time, in the sales, there was sales plus commission. So 35 years ago, I remember I was making 15 to 20,000 dirhams in virtue of salary plus commission. And that was a lot of money because with that money, if you have to count that 15 to 20,000 dirhams in today's, if I have to count the valuation, it will be about 80,000 dirhams. A person who was not educated, who is earning 80,000 dirhams, was very, very happy. I got my sister married. I got myself married. We bought a house in Bandra next to Shah Rukh Khan's house. Everything moving perfectly all right for us. Things had to change. Saddam Hussein comes in Kuwait. I'm sure you know the story of Iraq invasion of Kuwait. And we all had to run away from there. So we went all that 100,000 dirhams leaving and came to Mumbai, again looking for a job. Now when I'm looking for a job, nobody wants to give me a job. Because when I go to ask for a job, they would ask me the first question, "What is your education?" And I tell them I don't have any education. I mean, I was not graduate. I had to leave because of my dad's death at the age of 18 when I was only completed 12 or 13 years. And nobody wanted to give me a job. One friend of mine in Dubai, he gave me a job. He says, "Rizwan, I'll give you a job, but the salary will be only 3,000 dirhams. Now, can you imagine you are earning 15 to 20,000 dirhams in Kuwait when you left, and somebody says that I'll give you only 3,000 dirhams. I told him, take the job. I'll take the job because this job is very important for me, that 3,000 dirhams. And I told him, whatever commission, if I sell for you, you'll give me the commission. He agreed for that. I took that job and I started for him, working as a salesman again, going to the hardware market, selling to all the boris. I can see some couple of boris over here also. So I went to all the boris and started selling the hardware to boris and trying to make some commission. And luckily enough, very happily, started making 10, 12,000 dirhams easily with the virtue of commission. Then I told my wife, I said, look, when I was 14 years old, I was making money. When I was 18 years old, when I went to my uncle's place in Kuwait, I started making money. When everything fell down, when I went to Mumbai, I did a small business, I started making money. When I came to Dubai, I started working for this company, I started again making money, which means there is something, quality of salesmanship is there in me. So I should start my business. My wife was very upset. He says, Rizwan, just now we have settled down. You know, after all that ups and downs we have gone through and why you want to take the risk of. I said, look, let me take that risk for 6 months. You will be my support. You will be my secretary. If it doesn't work, we will take up a job. Somebody will give you the job of 5,000 dirhams easily in this market. And that's how we started this company called Danube Building Material with me and my wife. And looking back today, whatever you see, that's the beginning of my company.
What an inspiring journey, sir. So how did Dubai help you to be successful? We would like to know. But you've built a business empire here. I just want to ask you this question also. If it would not have been Dubai and any other country, do you think you'll be able to achieve this?
I think Dubai is very, very business friendly. Anybody who wants to do business in Dubai can do very easily business. When I say today the success of Dubai, it's because of the people like us who are doing the business over here. It's not only me. There are many, many stories who have come without anything in Dubai and made it successful. I wouldn't say that you would not be successful in any other country, but what Dubai does to you is offers you all the solutions for the problem. When you want to do any business, I'm sure you encounter many problems, many ways where you need the help of the government. And at this particular time, the government welcomes you with open arms. Whether you are at the top or you have started your business just started, you will see the difference. You're from starting your trade license to finding your paperwork done. It's all done in a minutes of work. And in case of issues, they will go out of the way. Like when we had in a property, I have any issues, there are many departments which we have to go through. You know what is the time it takes for me to start a project and launch a project? When I say start a project, to buy a land, once I bought the land, it takes not more than 3 to 4 months where I can announce my project. That fast you get all the approval. Now because 3 to 4 months, it's a very, very small time for all the government authorities to study all the buildings, the design, the preliminary, the complete impact, safety, regulations, whatever the DLD charges, the escrow, the banks, all legal. In other countries, it takes, London, I know it takes more than 2-3 years. In our India also, it takes about 1.5 years. 1.5 years before you start the project. Here within 3 months, you can start your project, start selling it. So what I'm trying to tell you is, because of this friendly, welcoming nature of Dubai, anybody can start business in Dubai. And trust me, it is very good to start business in Dubai, because when you start business in Dubai, I always tell everybody, people ask me, what is the difference, Mr. Rizwan, of starting a business in Dubai and starting a business somewhere else? I said, if you're starting a business, for example, a country like Portugal, what will happen? You're selling to only Portugals. What happens if you start a business in Romania? You're selling only to the Romanians over there. But when you start a business in Dubai, you are exposed to the whole world. And that's a big, big achievement, Whatever business you start, whether you start a restaurant business, a jewelry business, or a building material business, or my property business. Today, property business, I'm selling to 170 countries of the world who are buying from property. Now, that's a big, big, difference of starting a business. And it's very easy because you just require a little bit of money to start business. For the LLC company, it's about 3 million dirhams. And you're on. And especially for our Indians, there's no place like Dubai, I can say, to start the business.
So let's come to Danube now. You've been a trendsetter in the market. Starting with that 1% payment plan, fully furnished apartments, convertible apartments, and maybe a lot of people followed you after that, maybe copied that also. And later we found that you're a trendsetter. How do you come up with such beautiful innovations?
our company, we started with building material. I'm talking about 30 years ago. After that, I just want to add on that we started as just a small brokerage company. But today, Danube is the biggest building material, not in Dubai, not in UAE, but the whole of GCC countries, which means we have offices across full GCC country and the biggest building material company. After that, we started this furnishing company, which is Danube Home. And at that particular time, if you remember, there was a big boom in 2003, 2004, 2005 of property. People were buying the property and the prices were going very erratic, which means you buy a property today in a queue, somebody will offer you key money extra for that property, even you come out of the key. And at that particular time, a lot of people were telling me, Mr. Rizwan, you should also start property business because this is a place to stay and you should, why are you not starting? But I felt that it was going too fast. At that particular time, it was going too fast, too erratic. And I said, no, I'm not going to touch this. After that, rightly enough, the Lehman Brothers crisis came. People lost money. People ran away from here. Then the government also realized that no, we have to tighten the rules and they started this escrow account. Escrow account is account means when you buy the property, the developer has to put that money into the escrow account. The escrow account is controlled by the government. And once you put the money in the escrow account, the escrow then pays to the construction of the building. Now, all these rules and regulations were formed in Dubai. I said, this is the time now I have to start my property business in Dubai. But when I came, I decided to start my property business that time. Big giants were sitting over there. That means they were selling property at very high prices. I said, how do I compete with them? But then we realized that 85% of the population which lives in Dubai lives in a rented apartment. They stay in a rented apartment and they want their house because once you come to Dubai, you don't want to go out of Dubai. You want to stay in Dubai. You want to own your house. You're paying heavy rents. I said, I want to target these people. I want to sell property to these people who are paying the rent, who are going to live in Dubai for a long time. Now, how do we sell to them? Because the banks will not give you a loan. Banks will never give you a loan for the people who are working class, especially in the off-plan properties. And that's how we came up with the idea that you pay a 20% down payment and balance 1% per month. And that's how this signature started with the 1% per month.
Lovely, sir. See, talk about the innovation. You recently launched the iconic commercial tower, Shah Rukh's by Danube. When he was, you can't even imagine, sold out on day one. Can I have a thunder round of applause where sold out, day one. How are you able to think of this association? For us, Shah Rukh is an icon, a global celebrity, and you're naming him in a tower. How would this happen?
So, in life, my philosophy or my funda is very simple, and that's my bathroom song which I sing, every time when I go to the bathroom. It's दुनिया में रहना है तो काम कर प्यारे, हर सुबह नया कोई काम कर प्यारे. You must have heard this song in Hathi Mere Sathi. Now when I say har subah naya koi kaam kar pyare, if you look at it, the 1% plan I spoke, I said 1%, yes, now people have started, again following what we are doing. What do I do different to my customers? What do I offer something different to my customers? So we started with offering them a fully furnished apartment. Fully furnished apartment, what happened is people from all over the world started buying the apartment in Dubai. Now, especially when you are, and 70% of the population who are actually buying the property is coming across the world and buying. And when you want to live in that property or when you want to rent that property, you don't want the headache of going to different small shops and, furnishing your house. I said, this is the need where the customer wants this need. And we started with this furnishing. That was another new thing. After that, what we did, I always think, what does the customer want? Like when I was growing up, I remember we were staying in a building in Karama, and luckily I had the money because I was doing a little bit of business when I started my son who was born, he was a sports guy. So he wanted to go and play cricket. He wanted to do swimming. All these facilities were not there in the building. So my wife had to go around, take him sometimes to play tennis, sometimes to play, learn swimming or whatever sport activities he liked. But she was all the time going around. I said, why not I have all these facilities in my building? And if you look at it today, Danube, if you see a project, it's not just 4 walls brick. You will have a fully furnished apartment when 40 plus amenities for you, for your children, for your grandfather, grandmother, that means gym, sauna, whatever you think of a 5-star resort facilities we give in our building. Now, this was over. I said, now what do I do new? So, Shah Rukh thing is a very, very interesting thing. Me and Shah Rukh were flying from Mumbai to Dubai. Fortunately, he was on the same flight with me. So we just exchanged hi, hello. And I, by mistake, sent a message to my side. I'm telling you by mistake, I sent a message to my wife, you know who is flying with me? I said, Shah Rukh is flying. Why I said by mistake? Because my wife is a die-hard fan of Shah Rukh. So much die-hard fan, like in our bedroom, we have 2 pictures. One with me and my wife Samira, and the second is Samira and Shah Rukh. Now Samira has kept that picture in my bedroom. And when I told her that Shah Rukh is flying with me, he said, did you tell him anything about me? I said, what do I tell? Tell him that I'm not well, I'm getting treated in London and just pray for me. I said, I've already spoken and I don't feel like again going and talking to him. And it doesn't look nice, he's a celebrity and I don't want to disturb him. I'm not that close to him also. He says, no, for my sake, you please do that. So I again sent a message to Pooja. I said, Pooja, I want to talk to Shah Rukh because my wife wants to convey a message to him. So immediately Pooja and Shah Rukh came and said, Rizwan, what do you want? So he says, I told him that my wife is not well and she wants this message to pass to you that she is not well and she's a big fan of you and she loves you a lot and all that blah blah things which I had to tell, I told Shah Rukh. Shah Rukh listened to me. As soon as we got down, he's telling me, Rizwan, what time you are reaching home? I said, I'm reaching him in 1 hour. Where is your wife? He said, my wife is in London. Okay, I'm going to call you in 1 hour. Tell her that I want to talk to her. Now, normally what happens is, suppose somebody tells you that your wife is not well or your brother is not well or somebody in the family is not well. What you and me or anybody is going to do? Say you will pray for her and say that I love you also a lot, and this is what we normal person is going to do. Am I right? We are not going to do beyond that. Now Shah Rukh being Shah Rukh he actually called after 1 hour. We connected Samira on the Zoom call and she spoke with Samira for more than 25 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. 25 minutes he spoke on the phone. How are you? What treatment? I can help you. This doctor I know. Whatever that thing which is required to console her. Of course, Samira was on the top of the moon. And I then realized, this man is something because, we are connected to Bollywood. I have worked with a lot of Bollywood people before and I have never worked with this guy. I said, now, how do I work with him? This thing was going in my mind. Shall I call him, make it a brand ambassador, like we do with different Bollywood celebrities? And there was this one tower which was being made on the Sheikh Zayed Road. It was a commercial tower. In the morning, 6 o'clock, I got a dream. I said, why not I name this tower as Shah Rukh Tower? Idea was brilliant. But I said, how do I convince Shah Rukh now that I want this tower in his name? So I again sent a message to him. Look, I have this tower and I want to make this as Shah Rukh Tower. How do you think? He was taken aback because never in life nobody has made a tower in a celebrity's name. So he says, Rizwan, I'm coming next month to Dubai, we'll meet and discuss. I said, next month I don't have time because I have to launch immediately. I'm coming to your house tomorrow and give me that time, half an hour slot, and I will explain you why I want. So then I went to his house, I made a full presentation and I explained him. He said, Shah Rukh bhai, you 33 years came from Delhi to Mumbai and you become such a big legend, such a big superstar. Exactly the same story is with me. 33 years ago, I came from Mumbai to Dubai and whatever that success I have achieved, And both of us did not have any godfather or any support from anybody else, but we were able to make it. Imagine if we both get together, make this collaboration and say that this is Shahrukh Tower by Danube, and if we both have made it in our life, you can also make it. And this will inspire so many people, and people will be happy to buy an office in that particular tower. He was sold with the idea. He says, I am on. And that's how we started the Shahrukh Bhai Tower.
Wow. You proved that you're the world's best
So
salesman.
I would dedicate this to my wife, because had she not insisted that you go and again talk to him, I would have never happened, and the Shahrukh Tower would never happened.
That's truly inspiring. So let's talk about, you're one of the leading real estate developers in Dubai now. Where is this industry getting into? Is it in a growth phase? Don't you feel that the price is a bit expensive now? Are there going to be any corrections in the market?
A lot of people ask me this question, and I'm sure you people also have, and thinking that whether I should invest in Dubai and whether the prices have gone up and whether this is a bubble and the prices will come down. I want to, first of all, I'm sure you guys like people who have come over here or people who are staying over here. We all love Dubai and we all have seen how Dubai is growing. I'm going to show you one slide which will give you an idea whether Dubai is a bubble or not. So if somebody can play that slide, this is the prices of different cities of the world which I have shown you. Central cities. When I say central Dubai, central Mumbai, central London, etc., etc. Now if you look at Dubai today, is about $930 to $1,000 you can buy in Business Bay. Am I right? This is the price who are living in Dubai. They will say that $1,000 approximately is the price in Dubai. I go to Mumbai, which is close to when you say Nariman Point, which is the central Mumbai, is 1,200. Los Angeles, 1,500. Beijing, 1,500. Singapore, 1,800. Again, same way, London, 2,000. Going up to Monaco, $5,000 a square feet. Now, if you look at this, Dubai is a very small city. We are only 4 million people over here in Dubai. And the plan which the government has to double the population, which means we are talking about adding 4 more million people in the next few years. What is 4 more million? Mumbai, the population where I come from, is 25 million. Here I am talking about only adding 4 more million. This is the land which we have in Dubai. I'm talking about the mainland. Exterior, no, the main city's land. So, if you ask me, is Dubai a bubble? No, absolutely no, because the way amount of people today are coming to Dubai from all over the world, if at all you all have time, just for academic interest, I'm not coming here to sell my property, just come for academic interest, have a look. The amount of people who come from all over the world to buy the property. And to add to this, I want to, one more quote I will tell you. In 2025, 250,000 new companies were formed. Only in 2025, 250,000 new companies were formed. Now, can you imagine the amount of people who are coming from all over the world wanting to start their business? And why they want to start the business? It's very easy. Because in Dubai, we don't have income tax. The corporate tax is only at 9%. The infrastructure is the best. Health sector is the best. When I say health sector is the best, in COVID times, we hardly had any people who were dying over here. The death rate was 0.002%. Why? Because the government was able to take care of everybody. Anybody who has a COVID immediately was taken care. I mean, you have seen how during the COVID crisis, everybody around the world suffered. Education-wise, best. Taxis, buses, metros, superb. Because banking sector, the topmost. Connectivity, topmost. You want to do the business, very easily you can do. Especially for Indians, no other place like Dubai, I always tell you, because of the culture, of the food and of the religion. You can follow any religion what you want. So this is not a bubble, my friend. If you are planning to invest in Dubai, I'm not saying buy from Danube, buy from anybody, buy it today, you will remember me.
Thank you, sir. Let me quickly move on to one more question with you. You are a social media star.
You are?
You're a social media star for all of us. Millions of people follow you, including me. How and why on social media? And is it helpful for you? How it helps your business? We all would like to know.
Social media, I believe, is a very, very important. My friend Faisal Bhai is on the social media. So I believe social media is a very, very important. To all the businessmen who are here, I want to tell you, if you guys are not on social media, start the social media. Because it helps you to connect around the world. I mean, see, today you people from Kerala have come over here, or different parts of the world who have come, and you know me because of my social media. And the same way, I have seen people from all over the world. I have seen people from different cities of the world coming to me because they know me. Because what happens is, it's easier to reach them as long as you have a proper content which you are able to post on the social media. You're able to pass some important information to the person around you. Social media is a must, and you should do it because it is definitely going to help me. It's helping me a lot to sell my property, to know me, to people can understand me when they come to buy property from me. So I will request all the businessmen over here to start the social media channel. If you don't want to come on the camera on your own, make your son talk, make your wife talk, make your daughter talk, but let them talk and be on the social media.
I think we had a very interesting conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one and only legend, Rizwan Sarjan. What a great honor, sir. It's been a pleasure talking to you. It's been an honor for us to host you here in Eagle IPA BizCon Season 4. And I think we had a great conversation.